Speaking of movies, I did see a movie that's very controversial over the weekend. Against my better judgment, I saw Civil War. I didn't want to see it in theaters, but I was morbidly curious, and it was basically what I expected. It was not very good.
Mike basically handed money over to
Andy No.
Andy No.
Supporting
nice
Andy No. Mike didn't know that.
Also supporting, local movie theaters. So, I don't know.
Trade off.
Your local AMC. Did you go to some indie theater? Maybe if you did, that would be a good excuse. But...
No, it was actually a smaller theater. It's not a chain or anything. I will say, listen, the movie is beautifully shot. I think that the sound design was great. The acting was phenomenal. The movie was just bad, and it was the most cowardly thing I've ever seen. It's like you make a movie about the most politically charged topic imaginable, but you go out of your way to not offend a single person.
That's what I've heard almost universally. That's kind of the universal condemnation of it.
Yeah, and I had a problem with that because, it's basically like, okay, journalists, we're going to go from point A to point B, and, there's going to be things that happen as we go on our journey. And they give you like little crumbs about the situation. Like the president, okay, he kind of turned into a dictator. I won't say too much in case people want to see it. But like you never get a sense as to
Come on, man.
Who's the good guys? Who's the bad guys? Are these fascists? Are they not? There was really no rhyme or reason to the California Texas alliance, which I thought there would be some sort of like explanation there. It's just, hey, we're gonna not offend anyone.
So it's it's very vague. It's just like, oh, people are fighting. Who knows exactly why? But these things are happening.
Right. And part of it is I think it was purposeful, aside from being like a bitch move. I think it was purposeful because you could tell that like this is from the perspective of journalists. So in an ideal world, journalists are viewing something from an objective lens. They're not taking sides. So I think that that's why he tried to do this.
That's not exactly true either.
It's unrealistic.
Spoken to a single journalist, right? Yeah, probably.
Right, it's unrealistic, and the journalists do, in a sense, like they have criticisms and whatnot. But overall, it was ideologically incoherent. Like the politics of it weren't really there. And when you're making a movie about a civil war, like you need more context. Like that's the most interesting part. But really, it's just about journalists, and they'll do anything to get that perfect shot. When it's like, okay, but the environment that you create, like it's a civil war. I want to know more, and they just kind of, gave us blue balls the whole movie, and it was a bitch move. They could have told us more. I was a bit disappointed. I was pretty disappointed, but I expected it to be kind of like cowardly, like a very liberal like response to civil war, where it's like, hey, this is bad. We shouldn't do civil war, but we're not going to tell you like the catalyst for it. So.
Well, there's a lot of really good indie movies that don't explain a lot of things, but what you're saying is that it doesn't seem like this was for storyline purposes. It seems like it was because he just didn't want to make it.
Well, it's also because it's the moment, right? Like you're releasing a film based on something that a lot of people feel is happening during a very intense and charged moment in American history. So are you going to actually add any kind of artistic nuance to this conversation, explore it in an interesting way? What are you going to do? But I can't speak on it. I haven't seen it. I spent the weekend watching John Woke insteed, and it was really good.
That's a great series.
I highly recommend it. The new film Monkey Man. Really good.
I heard that was great.
Yeah.
I want to see that.
It's good. Very
What's that
entertaining.
about?
It's a new film by Dave Patel that apparently he had a really hard time making because it's an action film that centers completely on Indian culture, mythology, location, mostly all Indian actors too. But Jordan Peele, way cooler. Jordan Peele ended up producing it, made it, and it's just like a really good badass action film, and well made, original, very entertaining. The reason I joked about John Woke is because it's got a team of very, I would say, awesomely portrayed trans people in the film who essentially, I don't want to ruin anything, but turn out to help the hero quite a bit. So yeah, good movie.
Love that.
Interesting.
I do like the idea of Jordan Peterson seeing this movie and falling in love with it.
We have to get it distributed.
Your Jordan Peterson's hilarious.
We have to get it distributed.
It doesn't sound at all like him, but you get the essence.
There was no monkeys in this movie.
It's like Jordan Peterson was a Muppet, though. It's good.
Yeah, I like that.